Hello. Gonna go ahead and take a minute. Co-host on. Hope you guys are having a fan. Great. Hello.
Hello.
Yay, she's here.
Hello, beautiful people.
Hello,
How are you all doing today? What's going well?
Yes.
Let's start with you, Kayla. Tell us what's going well.
What is going well for me? Well, I've been sick with double ear infection for too long at this point. So I'm feeling so much better today, which is such a win. How about you, Tia?
Good. What's going well? I have breath in my body. I'm excited about life. I am loved. I am grateful. I am so blessed. And I have the benefit of having amazing people in my life that I can share my truth with.
Ooh, yes.
One of those being you, Kayla.
Oh.
I know we were being honest with each other about some things when we talked earlier this week. And I'm just grateful for us having that space and that relationship where we can do that.
Yeah, me too. I'm so grateful. I feel like doesn't do it justice on how I feel to have you in my life. So we're about to get teary-eyed this afternoon.
Yes, as we're going to have some epic conversations today.
Yes,
so welcome everyone as you're joining us. We appreciate you for coming through and always supporting us.
Yes, so excited. Well, Tia, should we go ahead and get started? Go ahead and get us going here?
Yeah.
Hello,
Why
everyone.
not?
Yeah, let's go ahead and go off. Hello, everyone. Today we are going to be talking about healthy communication. And this can bring up some different feelings to everyone. So we want you to drop in the chat right now how communication makes you feel. What's the first thing that comes up? Maybe it's like a double thumbs up. It's like, yes, I got this.
Right.
Maybe it's a double thumbs down. Whatever it is, going ahead and dropping an emoji in the chat right now. I'm going to go ahead. I wish there was like a sideways hand.
Right.
They need that emoji. So going ahead and dropping in the chat right now how that makes you feel. I went ahead and dropped a little smiley face with blushing cheeks because when it's good communication, ooh, those good feels.
Right.
Ooh, makes me feel
me feel good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thumbs up to that. Fantastic. Well, I want to ask you guys some questions now. When it comes to communication, oh, I see anxious. Yes. Oh, yeah, communication can definitely, make the skin crawl a little bit.
Right.
So, when thinking about communication, do you think people in your life should know what you think? Is that a mindset that you have that the people in my life should know where I'm coming from?
You should know this already. Why not? Why don't you understand me yet? Come on.
Right. Having that mindset. Yes. Do you have trouble telling others what you truly want? The truth. Not, yeah, I can do that for you.
Right.
I'm guilty. How about, do you feel invalidated, misunderstood, or rejected at times when sharing your truth? Those not good feelings when you're able to speak up for yourself, having that rejection come up.
Right.
I'm gonna leave that there.
Right. And I know I'm guilty of some of these. Anyone else, please, if you are guilty of those, please drop a me in the chat. If you struggled with feeling invalidated, having trouble with telling people your truth, things like that, let us know. Drop a me in the chat.
Yes.
And as always, we want you to think about what would you like to be feeling instead, right? So would you like to be authentically you and just share your truth everywhere you're going? Like, here's me. Here, I'm going to be honest. Like, this is how I want to operate in the world. Do you want to feel seen, heard, and understood? I'm going to tell you a secret. Everybody wants to be seen, heard, and understood.
Yeah.
Okay. And then just be energized from having conversations with people.
Oh,
Right. Not having to feel anxious or anything, just feeling energized because the conversations are so much more deeper and meaningful. Right.
oh my gosh, yes. Drop a heck yes in the chat if this is what you want to be experiencing instead. I know I do. I want to feel seen, heard, and understood, as like Tia said, everyone does. I want to be feeling good from conversations, not beaten down and drained. And that's where healthy communication is. So, welcome everyone as we are going to be discussing this super important topic. And again, the past 3 months, we've been talking all about the self love journey. And while this isn't necessarily a part of that topic anymore, it is healthy communication is such a huge piece and act of self love for yourself, being able to do yourself justice. So we just wanted to throw that out there for you guys. And if you know anyone who would benefit from this conversation, from being able to hear what it means to have healthy communication, please tag them in the chat below. We want to see them. We want to include as many people as possible in on this conversation because
Yes.
it's not talked about enough. It's not
Yes.
talk about enough. So going ahead and taking a moment, I'm gonna tag
Right.
some people myself. So thanks so much for tagging some people in the chat here. I see some more friends are joining, so welcome. And again, last week, this whole conversation of healthy communication came about. We were inspired from our last IG Live, all about boundaries, right? And we had gotten into the nitty-gritty. We came in with some heat because, again, boundaries are another one of those super touchy topics
Right.
that can make our skin crawl. And so we had provided an action step of implementing our 3-step kind of process of create, state, and maintain. And if you don't know exactly what I'm talking about, no worries. After this IG Live, definitely go check out that last one because boundaries are such an important thing to boost your self-care and your self-love journey. So, and from that boundaries talk, we got so many questions about how do I articulate, how do I get across, how do I communicate, which brought us where we are here today with healthy communication of how can I get that across to someone, that healthy boundary, or be able to stick up for myself or be assertive. It starts with being able to communicate properly. So, hi everyone, I am Kayla Winters. I am the proud owner of the Lunar Radiance Wellness Center, where I am a life coach and a yoga teacher. And my amazing baddie co-host today is
Tia Trust.
hell yes.
I'm also a life coach and the owner of Phoenix Nest Coaching. So if you've been following us, we want to say welcome back. And if this is your first time, we want to say welcome. All right. So after this live, as Kayla mentioned earlier, we do encourage that you check out our other lives where we discuss, as Kayla mentioned, boundaries, things like self-care, self-love, and what life coaching is and how to figure out if you need a life coach, and the difference between a life coach and a therapist. We always provide tips, so check those videos out because you don't want to miss out on any of the information we're providing to you. Do that.
Heck yes, check those out. So let's go ahead and jump into the nitty gritty today with healthy communication. And we wish that we could tell you that it's an easy task. Just follow step 1 and step 2. Everything's going to be easy. You're going to feel great the entire time. It's not going to be uncomfortable, but that's not the case. The reality is that it is one of the most complicated things that we have to do when it comes to communication. And despite it being comfortable, if we do not learn healthy communication, what ends up happening is we stifle, we limit our ability to grow in every area of our life. When it comes to home, work, friendships, communities, everything is going to be a constant struggle if we are not establishing what healthy communication is for ourselves.
Right. Beautiful. So we just want you to really quick think about a good example is small children when they're trying to get along. So think about those that are about 2 years old and have learned some language, they usually do fairly well with learning to cooperate. However, those who have not learned much language become very frustrated and often turn to anger, violence, such as biting to solve their problems. So we all know, every single one of us on this live today, plus and beyond, all know adults who still handle their communication dysfunctions with anger and frustration. All right. And we're trying to change that today.
We are. And so when communication does break down in our relationships, communication can include a lot of criticism, defensiveness, maybe even contempt or disgust, like so-and-so is such an idiot. I don't know if you guys have ever had that feeling, or, something called stonewalling, where someone will leave the conversation either energetically or physically because of the frustration that's coming about. And so it can make it so hard to find progress when these things are happening. And it is 100% going to be so draining of energy when we are not seeing that progress. And what ends up happening, we feel unsafe, we feel unseen, we feel unheard, and then feelings of hopelessness can come about. And it's just a downward spiral. And we want to run away from that as much as possible by giving you those tips and tricks to avoid all of this, right?
Right. And we want you to know, like I said earlier, communication can give you energy.
Yeah.
And you can feel safe and seen and heard. And one of the things we're going to talk about today is appreciative communication. That's going to be one of the techniques that we give you today, is appreciative communication.
Yeah.
So there are really two main parts to appreciative communication, and Kayla's going to get us started with it.
Yes, I am. So for this first part, we're going to start with an analogy of just communication in general. And we like to use this idea or concept of the map, right? And so thinking about us each having our own maps, knowing that every single map is completely different and completely valid. I'm going to say that one more time for us here. Everyone's map is completely different and completely valid, right? And the way that they see the world. And if we were to project someone's map up on a screen, let's say, you are going to see exactly how they see the world in their particular way.
Right. And so a real quick example, the way to think about it, think about Kayla and myself, right? So Kayla got her own life experiences. I have my life experiences. So if you put our maps of the world side by side, it's going to be two different things. Hers going to be completely different than mine, right? So when we think about it from that way, we know Kayla might have rivers on hers and I might have mountains on mine. But hers is valid and mine is valid as well.
Exactly. And so again, the maps are different, but the key part, if you haven't noticed from us saying this word over and over again, is that both of our maps and everyone's map is valid, period, right? And then coming with that understanding, with a lens of appreciation for another person's map, with a means of being able to listen, a willingness to consider that someone else has a different view, and they might have unmet needs, desires that are also right and good, even if it doesn't mean that for you. Or maybe it creates friction and conflict, right?
Hold on, Kayla. You got to say it again for the people in the back. They ain't hear you good.
No, I do. Like, this means that even if theirs is different, it means that it is still good and that it is still right, even if that does not mean the same for you, right? Again, I have rivers, Tia has mountains.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. It's just a different way and of how we approach things, how we have to get across that mountain or get across that river when we hit that point in our map, right? So really, really, really bringing that willingness to consider and that willingness to listen.
Right. And, again, like Kayla said, despite if something's contributing conflict, we want to know,
Yeah.
want to remind you that it is very possible and even likely that their behaviors and their views make sense in their world, even in our heads. It makes sense in our world. What Kayla is doing, it makes sense in her world. Even if it doesn't make sense in Tia's world.
Right.
Woo, come on. I know we giving some ahas today.
Oh, yes, we are.
Yeah. And so I want you all to know this takes practice.
Yeah.
It requires a willingness to temporarily set aside your own assertions about what is right and that the other person is wrong or misguided. Should I say it again? You need to temporarily set aside your own assertion that you are right and the other person is wrong and misguided.
That's a hard thing to do.
Hard.
It's hard. And like Tia said, it takes practice to go ahead and be, okay, I'm still alive. Everything's okay. Okay, right. Now let me take another deep breath.
Right.
And bring in that appreciation for what someone else has seen, right?
Right.
And so then from there, this is the big piece, is it requires you to be curious. It requires you to be curious. Once you have that understanding, you've taken that time to put your map aside, knowing that someone else is different, someone else is valid. Now it requires you to be curious. Why does the other person see things the way that they do? Right? Ask yourself that question. Why is someone seeing something like this? And giving them the opportunity to talk about it. So we're going to run through some dialogue today. You're going to see this a couple times, but we're going to run through our first dialogue, giving you guys an example of what that looks like here. So here's example 1. I'm going to go ahead and start off. Tia, I love dogs. I love dogs.
I hate them.
Ooh. Now me silently thinking to myself, I don't trust someone who doesn't like dogs, right? Ugh. So here we are. We're on our map. Tia has a mountain. I have a river, right? Nothing wrong with that. She is valid in her perspective. I am valid in my perspective. And as we look at this conversation, was there any sort of connection being made? Connection is broken. Connection is lost. But how to mend that, how to fix that, is by opening ourselves up to the curiosity of why it is that I love dogs and why it is that Tia hates them, right? So let's go ahead and try this again with the curiosity approach. We're going to rewind real quick. So here I am starting again. Tia, I love dogs.
Oh, how or when did you start to love dogs?
Well, so my grandmother has a dog, and I used to spend a lot of weekends there, and there weren't a lot of kids around, but she had this sweet dog named Birdie, and he basically became my best friend, and I've just loved dogs ever since.
Wow. I guess that what they say is true, is that a dog really can be your best friend.
No. Pause, cue, me feeling warm and fuzzy now, silently thinking, Tia gets me. She knows that dogs are my best friend. And I say, yes, that is where a point of connection is being made. So does this example create less or more connection? Can anyone drop in the chat here where they see if that less or more connection is being made by inviting in that curiosity?
Right.
Well, I think we all know at this point that it is creating that connection. That curiosity, again, is mending that, is allowing ourselves to open up. And we can also flip it too. Well, Tia, why do you hate dogs, right? And being able to flip it that way, and then continuing to understand, well, oh, that's why Kayla has a river, and that's why Tia has a mountain, right? Being able to step into that. So again,
Kayla, I want to tell them something else, because I want to give them another thing. You see that curiosity, when you have that curiosity removes judgment. So you see in the first example, without that curiosity, Kayla was just like, I don't even know if I like Tia anymore. Like, is she even human I can get down with? But because of that curiosity, it eliminated that judgment and allowed her to feel valid, seen, and heard. And when we're thinking about this, keep it in your mind exactly what you want to feel. You want to feel valued, seen, and heard. And how are you going to start that? You got to start by doing that yourself. And people will mirror what you do when they interact with you.
Yes. Yeah, you'll immediately start to notice, well, then they'll get curious. They'll be like, let me ask you that question. So I completely agree. And I love that of being mindful of it, removing that judgment, erasing it, scraping it off. That's the biggest problem, because we're sitting there with our map like, girl,
right,
do you have a compass? You know?
Right.
But it's like, no, we got different maps. So removing that judgment and inviting that in. I love that. Thanks, Tia. I appreciate you stepping in for that one.
No problem.
So again, coming back to this first step of appreciative communication is approaching someone knowing that they have a different map than you do, believing that their map is valid, and then ultimately becoming curious about their map, right? How do they see the world? Why do they see the world that way? So we're going to take a moment here just to check in, see if anyone has any questions so far, if this is landing for you. How does it feel? Maybe dropping
what's
a heart
jumped
in the
out so
chat.
far? Like, what's been your aha so far? What's jumping out for you? Was it the curiosity? Was it about the maps? Tell us what's been the concepts that are jumping out for you thus far.
We love hearing from you guys. Tia, how about for you? What was your big aha when you first heard about this topic?
The maps was a big thing, but before giving them a head start on the second step, for sure, being curious, like getting to know folks, understand their whys, understand where they're coming from, their perspective, and seeing how that plays into, how they make decisions, how they operate, how they receive information. When you think about these different maps, it opens your eyes to so much more.
So much more. Yeah, it gives so much perspective. I love that.
And myself. Honestly, and myself, as I'll share a little bit about myself in this moment, I had a lot of trauma experiences. And once I realized this, I even had to acknowledge how my trauma experiences was dictating my interactions with people in the world, right? So how it was guiding how I acted around my friends, when I limited myself in conversation, it showed up in how I made decisions about what I would do, what I was comfortable with, what I wasn't comfortable with. It also, I'll give you a secret, that I had recently realized this, that it even showed up in my decision to not to want to have children. And I had to recently realize how I had to see my experiences was dictating how I was going not willing to have kids because of my own fears and how my trauma experience was guiding that.
Yeah.
So it just opens the world up for you as well as others once you think about it from that perspective. How about you, Kayla?
Yeah, I totally, to piggyback off of you a little bit, I think, it's so important for us to not only be curious about other people's maps, but also our own, just like you're saying, and how did that river get there?
Right.
Why is that river there? And why am I making myself go through the rapid part of the river? Right. So how can I move through this more smoothly? How can I better support myself? Be a better lead for myself? Absolutely, I agree. And I think the map has just really stuck with me so hard, of just allowing myself to step back and be like, people see it different and it is valid.
That's it.
Just as I'm valid, so are they. And it just allows yourself to walk, I feel like, with so much more grace into these situations when you have this different mindset, instead of like, this person's crazy. That doesn't help anyone. That doesn't help you. It doesn't help anyone. So being able to open it up with compassion and grace, I feel like it's just, gushy. Feels so much better. So much
And
better.
then even asking yourself in those moments when you like, oh, I'm feeling so conflicted with this person. They just getting on my nerves.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not feeling their energy. Coming from also this mindset that everybody we interact with, if you think about it from this way, that everybody is here to teach us something. So what is that person
Mm-hmm.
here to teach you something? When it's triggering something up, it's something you may need to work on. You may need to identify boundaries. You may need to be able to openly communicate what you're feeling, to start sharing that, because people are
Yeah.
not necessarily aware of what your boundaries are.
Right.
So what are they there to teach you when you're struggling real hard?
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Right.
Making you look a little deeper in that one, which
Right.
is good. That's where the growth happens. That's where we're
Right.
really able to give ourselves the space to step back and be like, why is this the way that it is? And then ultimately be better for it. So
Right.
healthy communication.
Here we
We
come.
can't.
Here
Here
we
we
come.
come.
Right. All right. With that, we're going to go to our second step. So remember, appreciative communication is 2 important steps. The first one is curiosity, and the second step is specificity.
Yeah.
In other words, being specific. All right. So one of the biggest reasons we experience problems with communication is because there's an inherent lack of specificity in the way us humans speak. Can we all agree? Can I get a wave of the hands? Can we all agree that we don't want to speak? We don't naturally speak that specific. We want to hold something for ourselves. So like off that, we humans tend to delete details of conversations happening in our heads. But we still expect others to get us. Ain't that right? Kayla, you should get me already, all right?
Tia, are you reading my mind?
Yes.
Right? We all have superpowers when we read each other minds, right? Right?
Right.
No.
We're gonna show ourselves some grace, but we do this unintentionally, y'all. So if I say for Kayla, think of a dog, but I don't give any specifics, the picture of the dog Kayla's gonna have in her mind is guaranteed, almost guaranteed, to be different from the picture I make in my head, because we have different maps.
We have what?
We got different maps. Come on, I hope the lesson is getting taken home now and getting tied together. And so this lack of specificity leads to the lack of clarity in the way we talk to each other. Yep. We want clarity, okay? We want to be clear. All right. So the root cause of conflict in communication frequently isn't what is said. I'm going to say it again. What is said, it's what isn't being said. So if something just clicked for you, I want you to say aha in the chat.
I'm dropping it.
Think about it. It's most of the time it's not what's being said, it's what isn't being said.
Yeah.
Come on,
I'm
Kayla,
sorry.
aha. Yeah.
Tia, one more time. So you're telling me it's not what I'm saying in the conversation that's causing issues and conflict. It's what?
What isn't being said. Yeah. Come on. Come on with these ahas.
We need to be direct. We need to be
clear. We need to share. And I want us to know that people are capable of handling the truth.
Yes. Ooh. People are capable. They need that. They need the truth to understand. Otherwise, we tend to make all sorts of assumptions. We fill in the gaps.
And you know what they say, when you making assumptions, you make an ass out of who? You and me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're not doing that.
We are not doing that. And so when we're making these assumptions, just like Tia said, making an ass out of you and me, misunderstandings, arguments, hurt feelings, resentment, anger. And this is why communication is broken down. And did you see anything good come out of that? Any of those words that I just said? Did I say it makes you feel like you got butterflies? No, it makes you feel terrible when you allow this assumption to happen. So why are you allowing yourself to feel bad? You know, opening that up for you. So we have some specific but very simple questions that'll really be able to help you gather information so that way you can understand someone's needs, someone's desires, and someone's feelings. Because again, we want to make ourselves and other people feel heard, valid, and seen.
Right.
Period.
Right. And these questions are gonna be very doable for y'all, right?
Very doable. So to go into those specific questions, there's 4. So grab your pens and papers, bring them out right now if you don't have them already. You should have number 1, curiosity, number 2, specificity, and under that,
Right.
these 4 types of questions. So number 1 is what, number 2 is when, number 3 is how, number 4 is who. I'm going to say those all one more time. What, when, how, and who. That is how
Kayla,
you get. Yes.
I know they just thought that was gonna be some hard stuff.
I know,
Y'all,
right? I'm sweating over here.
It's simple. You can do this.
Simple.
I'm telling you, you can do this.
It is so simple. So again, we're going to jump into some examples here for you guys. T and I are going to tag team this going back and forth, and then we're going to give you guys a chance to jump in on one of these examples. So the first one, I'm sure we've all heard this one, is someone saying, it is uncomfortable. Or maybe you're guilty. I know I'm guilty of saying this. It is uncomfortable. What is it? What are we talking about? Again, what is the word it give an opportunity for? An assumption.
Mm-hmm.
Who the heck knows what it is? And so if we're saying this to someone else, what's happening is they're going to base that it off of their own personal assumptions.
Right.
And our assumptions are based off of our own map, which is most likely going to mean that they're wrong. Because what? Everyone has a different map. Everyone has it different. Everyone sees things differently. So your assumption is most likely wrong. So it's our job to then ask one of these 4 questions, right? So what specifically is uncomfortable?
Mm-hmm.
Get straight and direct. What is it that's making you uncomfortable? It's that simple. I did it.
Right.
I did it. Tia, you take it away.
All right, we got a comment. What did Didi Isabama says, sometimes you have to get comfortably uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
Yes.
So true.
So true.
And in the beginning, it's gonna be uncomfortable as this is a new skill you're developing. But as you continue in this practice, it becomes so much easier because it's you just being your true self, right?
Right.
So we're gonna do another example. So another one would be like if someone said, I always feel underappreciated. Okay, another hint real quick. Whenever somebody says, I always feel underappreciated, always and never is rarely true. Okay?
It's what?
So
which ones are not true? When people say
always or never. Rarely true. Right. So we want to get more specific. So when specifically do you experience that feeling? So that's a question you can ask to get more curious. So using that, what's those questions, Kayla?
The what, when, how, who.
That's how you can develop those to get more curious, get more specific. Right.
Exactly. So I'm going to dive into our next example for you guys. Another one is, he rejected me, right? He rejected me. Well, how specifically did he reject you? How? What happened? Ooh, I just used 2 in there, right? I could go on forever. Who's he, right? Go on for days. And when someone feels rejected, there are like a million different ways that someone could feel that way. And so by using the question how, it's being able to really punctuate exactly what that experience of rejection was, and then also gives you a deeper understanding of like, oh, so that's how that person experiences rejection. Okay, I understand deeper how to avoid that or how to be better or, you know, how to console them on how they're feeling, right? Tia, you want to jump into the next one?
Yeah, so now it's y'all's turn. So we done
Yeah.
demonstrated how to get more curious and get more specifics. So it's your turn. So we're gonna give you a statement, and we want you to use those questions Kayla repeatedly told us about, and put in the chat how you would respond to the individual. So here is the statement: I'm bad at cooking. So I really want to see you in the chat talking about how you all are going to be curious about this statement.
I got some brewing in my brain. Let's see them. Drop them in the chat.
Let's put your learnings to practice.
Heck yes.
To get us started, you might as well go ahead and tell the ones you came up with, Kayla.
All right. So, who told you you were bad at cooking? I'm going to go through the list. So, we got who. I'm going to go backwards. How are you bad at cooking? When did you think that you were bad at cooking? What made you decide that you were bad at cooking? Right? Those can give you so many different ways to start out that kind of conversation with someone of getting deeper. And maybe they end up sharing with you that it's from some sort of anxiety or whatnot. And being able to get, again, a deeper understanding and compassion for where they're coming from and what their mouth looks like, right?
Right, right.
So, goodness. Well, let's go ahead. We're going to give another example and a conversation style for you guys. So, let's say you have someone who lives with their partner, and one partner never does the dishes, and it drives the other partner insane. I don't know if anyone's had that real life experience. Not pointing any fingers. So,
So
go
here
ahead
we
and start
go.
us off. Yeah.
Right. I'm bad at doing the dishes, Kayla.
You have to do the dishes. It literally drives me so insane, Tia, that you don't do them. Like, what? I'm just supposed to do all the dishes all the time? This is so unfair.
Now I want y'all to listen to this. So we can totally understand somebody losing their mind about the dishes, but here's really where your checkpoint question is. Is
Mm-hmm.
this response from Kayla creating more connection or less connection? Throw that in the chat for us.
Throw it in the chat.
And then we're going to demonstrate, while y'all are putting that in the chat, we're going to demonstrate what the conversation would look like when it includes great job, yes, less, with the 2 steps of appreciative communication. So acknowledging the person has a different and valid map, plus asking, specifying questions. Yes, better communication, need more understanding. We finna go for it. All right, so here I go again. I'm bad at doing dishes.
You're bad at doing dishes, Tia? According to whom? Did someone tell you that you were bad at doing the dishes?
Well, my mom never wanted me to get near the dishes because I broke one when I was a kid once.
I see. So, that's so funny because on my map, I see that all kids break dishes. It's interesting that your mom didn't want you to get near the dishes because you've only broken one. When I was a kid, I probably broke like 20 dishes.
Yeah, she was a super control freak. And I
Mm.
was anxious around her all the time. So I'm just always afraid when I go to do the dishes, I'm going to screw something up.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that makes total sense. So, is that a way more, connection boosting way to go about by allowing ourselves to be curious with each other, getting a better understanding? Because I know with my assumptions, if someone's just not doing something, they're probably lazy, right? No, that is not the case here, right? So clearly, Tia has some sort of anxiety that's stirring around having to do the dishes. So that's where we have to come together as, you know, come together and decide, is this something that Tia is going to work through to be able to not have that anxiety? Or is it just something that I'm okay with taking on, and we'll find another way for Tia to help around the house, right? So that's where you get to have that understanding, that deeper connection. There's no frustration or hurt feelings. And there's that connection and understanding that allows each other to feel heard, valid, and seen. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Period. So we have another checkpoint question for you guys. Are you up for practicing this 2-step appreciative communication right now? Does it feel good? Does this make sense on being curious and also having the ability to be specific and to have that specificity with these questions?
Right. We're getting some hearts out there. So I believe folks feel like this is a tool that they can use, and is feasible, doesn't feel overly complicated. Yeah, good. I'm grateful that, it feels helpful and easy enough to do. But before we feel like that's it, we're gonna add a bonus step. I just feel like a bonus step is necessary, Kayla.
Yes, we do.
Take it all the way home. We're going to add a bonus step in here. So now we're going to make it a quick 3. But it's 2 plus a bonus step. So it feels extra special this third, right? So when you feel like you have specific information, let me see. No. Screw what I was just saying. I was thinking
Scratch it. Rewind.
I'm thinking about the bonus step. But so this bonus step, so you're going to be curious. You get specific information. And then the bonus step is empathizing. Sit with that one real quick. So now we're going to empathize, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Saying something like, that sounds hard, or anyone would feel, or I would have felt the same way. Now imagine how that would take it home. So because empathizing is so important, because it helps people feel what, Kayla?
Feel heard and understood.
Come
on.
Yes. So that's going to take it home. So imagine now being curious, specific, and empathize.
Yes. And to me, this step feels like it's going to be so easy, because you've hit a point of understanding. You both feel seen and heard. Connection is boosted. It's going to be just natural to empathize with them now, because there's that understanding, there's that connection. It's going to be like icing on the cake.
Right.
It's going to be fantastic. So, so excited.
I envision that warm and fuzzy on the inside. Like, oh my gosh. They really got me.
Yes, exactly. And again, as you continue to practice this, people will mirror you, and you will start to see that happening to you as well. And everyone's going to feel warm and fuzzy, and it's just going to be a beautiful, nice, healthy communication fest for you, which is fantastic. So now it's time for us to get into our action step for this month. And as always, we like to give you guys some sort of action steps to walk away with us and be able to implement these really important tips and tricks into your everyday life, because it's one thing to listen and it's another to act on it, right? And again, we know it's not easy. But what we really want you to do is test drive this appreciative communication. Test drive it. See how it feels. See what feels good for you as you go through this process. And so we want you to try this on your spouse, your partner, your work colleagues, kids, friends, whoever it is that's in your life, anyone that you're regularly having conversations with, just testing it out. Just allowing that curiosity to peep through. Just allowing yourself to be able to get more specific and boost your connection with them. I promise you, only good is going to come from this.
Right.
Only good is coming from boosted connection with other people. And so being able to test drive it, and no one's going to know. You could have your little script of who, what, when, how, sitting there on your hand, and no one's going to know that all you're trying to do is get to know someone better. And who's going to knock you for that? For
Right.
you trying to get to know them better? How dare you, right? So really, really try that out. You'd be crazy not to.
And we also want to encourage you to notice when it's hard to stay curious.
Yeah.
And when you're tempted to react without listening or understanding first. This really would be worthwhile to jot those noticings down in a journal or on the notes app, somewhere easy, so you can be aware of yourself and, those things that may be triggering you, and also the things that we need to learn about ourselves from our experiences with others. So that you can see the situations where you tend to get emotionally triggered.
Yeah.
Awareness, as we've mentioned before, is the first step to making the shift.
Yes. Whew. Awareness.
Is the first step to making the shift.
Period.
Mm-mm.
Ooh. And
Well, tell them
I
what's
feel like
next.
we're
Tell
stirring up
them
this
about
pot.
us getting deeper.
Yes. So this is just ultimately, again, going to create deeper and more meaningful relationships. And we all desire that, especially, I think we've all experienced that through COVID, like needing that desire to connect with people. And this is what this does. It allows that to get deeper, to get meaningful, to get past the surface level, to go and really understand someone. What a gift. What a gift.
Right.
Fantastic. Well, we hope that we're stirring the pot for you guys. We hope we've stirred up the awareness, and you guys have to let us know if you do implement this, how it goes. We want to hear from you.
Right.
So DM us, let us know, send us an email, whatever feels good, let us know. We want to hear from you and all your success. But now we want to jump into a little Q&A, see if anyone has any questions about what it means to be curious, what it means to be specific, have empathy, and how that goes. Give you guys a minute here to drop any questions in the chat. I know this might be a lot, so maybe you're just sitting there like, wow.
Right. Inhale and exhale.
Yeah.
Let's
If
inhale
anything, take this
appreciative.
moment.
Right. Inhale appreciative communication. Exhale. We got this.
We got
Inhale
this.
appreciative communication. Exhale. We got this.
We got this. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes. I love that. Especially if you are practicing it and you feel nervous, use that mantra. Inhaling, and you got this.
Right.
You got this. Again,
Right.
boosting those connections that you have.
Right. Well, if there's no questions, everyone, we always want to take the time and ask, what, if anything new, did you learn today? If you take the time and share below in the chat, we welcome that information. We also want to check in with you all for our next IG Live topic. We've been considering listening, because that's a big part of this communication stuff, is listening, and then the other one is understanding. Which one do you want us to hit on first?
Yeah, what
So
topic?
type listening, put an ear, drop an ear in the chat for listening, and drop a thumbs up for understanding.
Yes. We couldn't decide. We loved both of them. So we were like, we're gonna leave it to our awesome listeners to decide. So looking for those thumbs up for understanding and an ear for listening. What tips and tricks would you like to hear for that?
Okay,
so we got an understanding.
Up.
Any more votes in here?
Oh, listening. Oh, we got listening and understanding.
We got a
Let's
tie
see how
now.
it goes. Neck.
We'll see.
While they're still voting, Kayla, why don't you go ahead and let them know how they can connect with us?
Yeah,
and what special
definitely.
offer we have for our folks.
For sure. So if this really stuck out to you today, this concept of really tapping into your healthy communication or any of our other topics from our other IG lives, we want to get in deep with you. We want to support you. We want to care for you. We want to elevate you. So through that, we both offer complimentary sessions. Complimentary sessions. Drop a chat in for complimentary. So if you resonated with one of us, if you want to get into the nitty gritty with us a little bit more, we would love to support you. So sign up for one of those complimentary sessions you can do with one of us, with both of us. We'd love to meet you, hear from you, and help support you. So you can either go into our bios. We both have a link there to get into those complimentary sessions, or by going for Tia to phoenixnestcoach.com, or for me, thelunarradiance.com, to be able to book there. So check us out. Even just go check out our website, see them, let us know what you think. We would love to hear from you and hopefully get a nice session in with you.
All righty. I think our votes are still tied, so I think we're gonna have to make a decision.
I guess we will.
What do you say? Do you want to think about it? Do you think we gotta combine it? We gonna do it separate? What you say, Kayla?
I think we should start with listening.
Listening.
I think we got to start with that one.
Right.
We got to open those ears before we can understand anything.
Right.
So I think we need to start with that.
And this conversation is not going to be telling you just like, oh, you need to listen and open your ears. We're going to have some activities to show you how a lot of times we don't really listen.
Yep. Again,
we're doing some activities to show and give you tools to help you really get actively more engaged in listening to what's taking place. So I think that's a good one. So next time we're going to talk about listening, y'all.
Heck yes.
All right.
And when is next time, Tia?
So our next time will be December 18th at noon.
Ooh.
Right. And we encourage you, if you enjoyed today's discussion and our previous ones, and you think this information can benefit someone, I challenge you to share our live with a friend or share our websites with them and tell them we're offering our first sessions for free. As always, we want to thank you. We appreciate you. I am grateful for you. Kayla's grateful for you for taking your time on Saturday to come spend it with us. And again, every third Saturday at noon, we get together and we have some serious conversations trying to help us elevate our way of life, because we want to live happy, joy-filled lives where we are being authentically ourselves.
Who's feeling warm and fuzzy? Who's feeling warm and fuzzy? I know I am.
And that's it. So until next time, be blessed, and make sure you put your appreciative communication plus the bonus step into practice.
Heck yes. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you in December.
See you next time.